this was the video. That was the video we was watching. But got much there. Crap.
From speed, almost breaking Ronaldo Jr. leg to a footballer breaking through walls, and to Ronaldo getting humiliated by a YouTuber. These are the moments when YouTubers challenge footballers. Starting off our list, we got Isho Speed. Even though for his controversies in world football, SO Speed has had the chance to play with some of the great players, but he always does something controversial that land him in trouble. In this match, he played with Kaká, Roberto Carlos, Drogba, and other soccer legends. He got a wonderful ball from Hazard just inside the penalty area, but unfortunately he missed it. A few minutes later, he had another chance. And, as always, he missed it too. Speed ruined it all, and they lost the match. All thanks to Speed's great performance. I can't even imagine what went through Hazard's mind after those plays. Even Roberto Carlos made fun of him at the end of the game.
Sorry, bro. Sorry, bro.
But the worst thing was when tried to break the leg of legend football player Kaká in a charity match. The whole internet bullied him for his pathetic play. That's just unacceptable, got criticized by the whole internet. I'm sorry, but to have the audacity to slide tackle one of the greatest players of all time from behind, that's just unacceptable. It just doesn't stop there. At one point, Mr. Beast almost escaped a serious injury after becoming victim to Speed's deadly slide tackle. But another YouTuber made the mistake to challenge Neymar and Mbappe. This guy named Theo Baker is known for doing challenges with famous players. But nothing beats what happened on that day he challenged the PSG squad. The first challenger was none other than Donnarumma, who even won a penalty shootout against the YouTuber. But then Baker faced Neymar, and the two started a juggling contest. Neymar completely humiliated him. A few minutes later, the impossible happened. Besides meeting Neymar, Baker also met Mbappe and had the chance to play with the star. It was after that moment that the famous meme of the French striker came up. In the end, Baker also lost the challenge. His big chance came against the PSG and Brazil national team captain, the defender Marquinhos. And guess what? He couldn't score a single goal. But a YouTuber named Tuzani got destroyed by Cristiano Ronaldo. The GOAT completely embarrassed Youper on his own channel, Tuzani TV. Let's just say his opponent wasn't that great, at least not in defense. However, when it came to freestyle, both of them did fairly well. But another YouTuber took challenge even further. He did something special by combining volleyball and football. Guess what? He challenged the wizard Ronaldinho to control a volleyball serve, and the best part is that Ronaldinho actually did it. However, before they could continue the video, a disaster happened in the middle of the recording due to the technical fault. Now, coming back to Speed. The internet went crazy when he met the Portuguese star Cristiano Ronaldo after his longtime fantasy to meet him. But months later, he almost ruined everything. He participated in a 7-a-side match against Cristiano Jr. and was humiliated. The chat between the two was cool until Speed got humbled in that match and for that tried to push Ronaldo Jr. to ground while in match. Imagine the trouble he would get into with Cristiano if his son got hurt badly. This guy is really crazy. After a few minutes, he tried to push another player onto the ground dot, but a few seconds later, the boy got his revenge by hitting the ball right onto his chin. Now, that's what we call fair play. Going back to Cristiano, check out what happened when he faced the YouTuber. They did some penalty kicks, and the Portuguese star simply humiliated him, not missing a single shot. He even showed off in the crossbar challenge. But after that crossbar but the contest was really settled in a FIFA match. But Messi outshone CR7 when he faced a similar crossbar challenge from a YouTuber. He had to hit the crossbar with only 5 chances, and the Argentine managed to hit 3 balls. But not always footballers outperform YouTubers because one YouTuber actually humiliated Neymar. He challenged the Brazilian Xavi Simons for a freestyle circle, and then there was still a small goal dispute. The guy just dribbled past Neymar, and Xavi, he was really good, managing to embarrass Neymar in the most humiliating way possible. But in this other challenge, Neymar did well. He had to control the ball inside the area, and the star pulled off this move quite accurately. But in another challenge, Cristiano Ronaldo didn't went well. Jeremy Lynch, a YouTuber and former professional player, challenged Ronaldo to a freestyle showdown during his time with Manchester United. Ronaldo, known for his dribbling focus style, couldn't outperform Jeremy in the challenge. The YouTuber impressed with some remarkable skills, including a captivating heel juggling sequence. Although Ronaldo's performance wasn't bad, he mostly stuck to basic tricks. But the next footballer, who was challenged by a YouTuber, completely thrashed on an even more extreme challenge involving a Real Madrid legend breaking a stone with a kick. Of course, we're talking about Roberto Carlos, known for having the hardest of all time. The channel that organized all this was Shoot for Love. The first challenge was to put through a barrier with several layers of styrofoam.
Jeez.
This might sound easy, but they had already attempted this challenge with Darwin Núñez, and the Liverpool striker couldn't pierce all the boards. However, with Roberto Carlos, it was different. The former Real Madrid star managed to do it with just one kick. But of course, they made the challenge harder by using a wooden board. And guess what happened? The next challenge was with plastic, which theoretically is harder to pierce with something round like a ball. This time, Roberto Carlos couldn't do it. I mean, he broke through the barrier, but couldn't make a hole in the plastic. However, the main challenge was yet to come. The guy set up a stone slab, and Roberto Carlos had to break it with just one shot. The player himself said that wouldn't be possible, but check out what happened.
He's just
The guy really has the hardest shot in the history of football. Even he's been retired for a few years now. Now again, we got Ishel Speed. In one of his live streams, he played a match against Alphonso Davies in EAFC, complete with a video call. When he lost the match, he went nuts and started singing the Holland meme song out of nowhere. This guy just can't accept the defeat. But in another YouTube video, Cristiano Ronaldo had to work hard to get back at the YouTuber DJ Mario. To give you an idea of this guy's skill, look at what he did against Ronaldo. They did a crossbar challenge and then a penalty shootout. But in the end, DJ Mario managed to beat the legend. But the masters of challenges against footballers are the free kickers. These guys have taken on several legendary players, but one of their best videos, which got millions of views, was against Balotelli. The Italian striker is more known for controversies than his football. But the truth is, he's really good in front of the goal. The challenge was to see who could score more goals. Balotelli started strong with a goal on his first shot, but to everyone's surprise, he missed all the others. To be fair, the goalkeeper managed to pull off some beautiful saves, even with the tip of his boots. In the end, one of the YouTubers won by scoring an amazing goal. In another video, they had an even more incredible matchup. The guys pitted Lewandowski against Aubameyang. They already had a rivalry when they played for Bayern and Borussia Dortmund, and this contest was intense. The challenge started with Lewandowski hitting a bomb.
You shot my mommy. You shot my mommy. My mama down on the floor.
Hurt my mother? You hurt my mother?
You hurt my mother.
These were moments when children realized that police officers had shot their parent, starting with two kids who cried nonstop after the incident. On February 4, 2021, Nevada County Sheriff's deputies were quickly deployed after receiving several reports about a woman, later identified as 33-year-old Sage Crawford, brandishing a knife. And it gets even worse as she was accompanied by her two children, prompting the officers to swiftly attempt to dispossess her of the knife.
You're not in trouble or anything like that. I'm not gonna touch your keys, but I need you to put your knife away. Tell me one folks, we're gonna have a knife. Don't place you have a knife. I'm not gonna hurt your babies. Hey, I'm not gonna hurt your. I'm not gonna.
Everyone knows every single thing, every single name.
Hey.
He happens to me and my babies.
Okay.
Everyone in the whole world.
Listen.
No! Oh my
We're not. Hold on. Hold on. Hey,
my babies!
we're not talking. Gotta go home, he said.
The woman was clearly not in her right state of mind, as evidenced by the way she wielded the knife loosely around her children and ignored reason, even when her young child intervened and begged her to stop. However, the situation was far from over yet.
Don't you fucking get
Put the knife down. Put the knife down. Put the knife down. Put the knife down.
She She continued to charge at the officers, and the situation grew more dangerous by the second as she carelessly handled the knife, even while holding her children with the same hand. This prompted the officers to have their tasers ready in case they needed them, but the situation further worsened, and even the tasers couldn't cut it. At that moment, the children ran to their dying mother, not caring about what the officers might do, as their mother had been shot repeatedly. However, the officers quickly took control of the scene.
Back up. Take a breather. I tell you, I was ineffective. She charged. She shot. He shot? I did not shoot.
Don't you lie!
Put the knife down. Put the knife down. Put the knife down.
They're not scared.
The children were taken to safety, with a passerby keeping watch over them while the officers secured the scene. Sage Crawford, their mother, who was later found to have been suffering from mental illness since her husband's death years earlier, died from the gunshot wounds. The officer who shot her faced no charges, as the prosecutor's office deemed his actions justifiable, and the children were reunited with their extended family, who assumed guardianship. The next child experienced the shock of his life when his mother was accidentally shot by a police officer.
You shoot her? Did I? Oh my god. Oh my god.
On January 6, 2015, Burlington police officer Hill was quickly dispatched in response to a public disturbance call. Upon arrival, he noticed a woman, later identified as 34-year-old Autumn Steele, attacking her husband, who was holding their young child. As the officer intervened, something unbelievable and tragic occurred.
Hey! Hey, stop it! Not my kid! Get your dog!
The family dog attacked the officer as he tried to intervene, prompting the officer to shoot. However, the bullet did not only strike the dog, as you'll soon discover.
You shoot her? Did I? Oh my god. Oh my god. 38 shots fired. You shot her! Did I? Did I really? You shot her! Oh my god. Get your dog. Where you shot, ma'am? 30, get an ambulance.
The child was crying profusely in the background, as it became clear that the officer's bullet had struck the mother as well. Once this was confirmed, the child's father quickly took him away from the scene, while the officer began life-saving procedures on the woman.
Tim, dog attacked me. I pulled my gun and shot it. Hit her. I don't know. Shit, Tim. I'm fucking going to prison, Tim. Oh my god. Oh my god. He was. Oh my god. We don't know yet. Yes, go ahead. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god. That's alright. Just calm down. Oh my fucking god.
Autumn Steele, the woman who was shot, was rushed to the hospital, where she later passed away. The incident received widespread media coverage, with many calling for the officer's prosecution. However, the county attorney declined to press charges, clearing the officer of any wrongdoing. While the previous cases involved children, observe how this man-child reacts after a police officer shoots his mother.
You fucking hurt my mother. You fucking hurt my mother.
On October 20th, 2019, a Greenville County Sheriff's deputy tracked a 40-year-old shoplifter Sean Theodore Kaiser to his home after recognizing him on the store's CCTV footage.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. Hey, where are you going? Hey, 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 hey. No, you're not. Hey, hey, listen.
Please don't do that.
You don't run away from me.
Sexually abused, and
This is nothing sexual. Do not leave me again. Do you understand?
don't grab me.
Do not run away
Do
from me.
not grab me.
You may arrest you right here, right now?
I don't give a fuck what you do.
Okay.
Do not grab me.
Do not walk away from will put hands
I
on you.
respect you, and I will talk to you.
Okay, don't walk away from me.
Don't fucking grab me.
That I can't guarantee.
Don't fucking
Hey,
grab
hey,
me.
hey, 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 hey. Don't you talk to her like that.
I will talk to her
No,
any way
you
I
will
want.
not.
Calm down. I'm here to read
Do
you.
not grab me
She's
like
trying to
that.
help you.
Listen, if you walk away from me, I have every right to lay hands on you. Do not walk away
I
from
don't
me
give a
again.
fuck what
No,
your right is.
stop, Sean, don't.
Stop.
I don't give a fuck what your right
Sean,
is.
relax.
From the look of things so far, the suspect's body build is far bigger than that of the female officer, making this arrest very tricky without backup, especially since the suspect is uncooperative. Although the suspect's mother, who had intervened, pleaded with the officer on behalf of her clearly intoxicated son, her efforts were in vain as the suspect became increasingly agitated each time the officer attempted to make the arrest.
I'm
Listen,
placing you under arrest.
listen to me.
No.
Are you gonna be mean, or you can do this nice? I'm asking you to do.
I'm asking you to put your hands behind your back.
I'm asking you to do this nice.
Get out of the way.
I'm
Get out of the way.
asking you to do this nice.
Hey, hey, hey.
I'm asking you to do this nice.
Let go of me. Let go of me.
I am stronger than you.
Let go of me.
I can do whatever I fucking
Let go
want.
of me.
Sean, stop it. God in heaven, stop it.
Hey!
Look at me. Okay, stop. Look at me. Wait.
I'm asking you.
The officer was physically no match for the suspect, who overpowered her effortlessly, even while still intoxicated. This situation prompted the officer to draw her firearm to enforce the arrest, a very risky decision to say the least.
You back up. Put your hands down. Put your hands down. Do not tell me what to do.
I know. Can you wait till the
No! Back up! Back up! Back up!
You're making a
Back up!
Sean.
You don't motherfucking house.
Shots fired! Shots fired!
You fucking hurt my mother. You fucking hurt my mother.
No!
You don't hurt my mother.
Back up!
You don't hurt my mother.
Unfortunately, the officer accidentally shot the mother while trying to subdue the suspect with her firearm, and the situation worsened as the suspect overpowered her once more. However, backup arrived soon after to assist the officer.
Fuck up, fucker. Hey, put your fucking hands up.
You want to punch me? What?
Are you alright? Are you okay? Hey, tell him I'm with you.
The suspect was eventually arrested and charged with multiple counts of assault. The suspect's mother, Diane Morose, survived the gunshot after undergoing more than 15 surgeries and later filed a federal lawsuit against the sheriff's office. This man was responsible for his mother getting shot, but watch how this next kid reacted when his guardian was shot by a police officer. It was this kid's birthday, but it quickly turned traumatic for him when Buffalo Police Department officers in Erie County, New York, pulled over 25-year-old Diavon Roberts for driving at excessive speed with tinted windows. The situation worsened when the officers even discovered that his 6-year-old cousin was seated in the front passenger seat without a seatbelt.
Hey, how's it going? I'm doing well. You roll back windows down for me, man? Thanks, man. Oh, man. Little guy, you gotta be sitting in the back. Nugget? Whose birthday? Happy birthday. Nice. Happy late birthday. You know how you can pull over? No. What's my license? Please. Whose car is this? This is my sister. Okay. There's no registration. For real? Yeah. Oh, the registration looks like it's expired. Let me find her. Maybe not, actually. No, it's not. You're good. It's not. But,
I'm about to say.
when you're pulled over, there's one high rate of speed, man. I want you to kick it hurt, and your tins are illegal, okay?
Okay, well, this is my sister. Who's she?
Yeah, I understand that. This is pretty speed as well. You got your license on you?
Nah, I don't. I got a screenshot of it.
The suspect had a long list of offenses, but the officers were initially inclined to let him go. However, they decided to at least check his license to confirm if he was eligible to drive. The suspect showed the officer a picture of a license on his phone, claiming it was from Georgia. However, upon checking, the officer found this to be false, as there was no license on record for the driver in either Georgia or New York, where he had been pulled over. When the officer confronted him about this, something unbelievable and tragic occurred.
Alright, man, it's saying you don't have a license in either state.
I have sir. I will.
What we're gonna do is I'm gonna have you take some out, come towards me. We're gonna try and run your name a different way and see if I can find it pop up some other way. Okay, sure. Beautiful. You're gonna kill me, bro.
The suspect's dangerous actions led to the officer shooting him multiple times, causing both of them to fall from the car, which was traveling at 60 miles per hour. While the officer was clearly injured, his primary concern immediately became the fact that the car, still in motion, had a 6-year-old child inside who was unbuckled.
Shots fired! Shots fired! There's a kid in the car still! He's trying to kill me! Shots fired! Come here! Come here! Come here! Come here, Grace. Come here. I got you. I'll get it. I got it. I'll get it. I'll get it. Okay, you okay?
No.
Okay, you're okay.
My phone.
You're okay.
My phone. My phone.
Stay right here for a second.
Can you get my phone?
Radio Rush, AMR to Wyoming, 10 to 10.
The officer managed to rescue the child, who endured an incredibly difficult ordeal. The child was safely returned to his mother, whom he had been intended to be dropped off with. The officer faced no charges, as his actions were deemed justifiable. In this next case, the boy couldn't bear to watch as his father was being tased by the police. This is 31-year-old Ivan Okri, an irresponsible father, as you will soon see for yourselves. On June 15th, 2019, Tempe Police Department officers arrived at his residence after his wife reported domestic violence issues. Upon their arrival, he was immediately resistant.
Hey, what's happening, man? Okay, well, it's not what I'm being told, so. Here, at your house or not. Put your hands behind your back. Come here. Hey, come here. Bro, you're not allowed in here. Put your fucking hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands on top of your head. Put your hands behind your back. Put your hands on top of your head. Put your hands on top of your head. Hey, okay? Listen to me. Put your hands on top of your head. Do it now. Put your hands on top of your head.
This irresponsible father used his crying children as an excuse to avoid surrendering and getting arrested. As the officers continued to order him to surrender, the opportunistic father, seeing his 1-year-old walking towards him, did something even more irresponsible.
Put your hands on top of your head. Put the baby down. Put your hands on top of your head. Put your hands on top of your head. Now, put your hands down and put your hands on top of your head. This is really simple, man. Do it now. This is complicated. Look, you're gonna get tased. Put the kid down. Put the kid down. No motherfucking. There's no adult in here, man. Put the kid down. Do it now. You're gonna get tased.
Pretending to be a caring parent, he quickly picked up his child and immediately used her as a human shield. Recognizing the depth of this man's recklessness, another officer quickly removed the other 2 children from the room. Once they were safe, the focus shifted back to the irresponsible father.
Put the child down now. Put the child down now.
Although his wife claimed everything was fine and used that as an excuse for him to avoid consequences, the officer remained unyielding. The final straw came when he refused to hand the child over to his wife, clearly showing the child as being used as a shield, prompting an action from the cops, which was inevitable at this point. The child was swiftly removed from his grasp and taken to safety. As he continued to resist, he was subdued with a taser. The suspect was arrested and taken to jail, where he later bonded out. The next case is the most tragic, as the daughters witnessed their mother being shot right before their eyes. On April 16th, 2022, a Las Cruces police officer in Arizona was dispatched after family members reported that their 75-year-old grandmother, who had dementia, was experiencing a mental breakdown, a common occurrence for patients with the illness. However, upon arrival, the officer failed to...
I did it.
Being a winner is a curse.
Oh, the hell is he?
It doesn't matter how much you...
Itoki was an ugly, lonely loser who saw a ninja spying on him in the distance, and was stalked every day by a mysterious ninja girl called Kusetsu. However, Itoki decided to run away from her and began parkouring around town. And when Truck Kun came to claim his next isekai victim, Itoki committed the greatest anime taboo, and backflipped over Truck Kun to escape his wrath. The following morning, Kusetsu was back sailing, but when he got to his locker, he found a love letter inside. And for the rest of the day, he continued thinking about the letter until he met the girl. She introduced herself as Satomi, but as Itoki tried introducing himself, she told him that she had always known him, and thought he was the coolest guy for backflipping over a truck. So she asked him to come over because her parents won't be home. Inside her room, Itoki looked around uncomfortably, but Satomi walked in with a drink for the both of them, and began taking off her clothes, causing Itoki to freak out. She forced him to lay down, begging him to develop plot with her, but as she drew closer to kiss him, our man fumbled the bag and decided to remain an anime protagonist forever. However, as he began looking around the room, hoping she was merely messing around, he looked under the bed and saw two glowing eyes from a ninja suit staring at him. As he fell back, his face was sliced with a knife, and 3 ninjas flew into the room. With Satomi looking to slash his throat, a knife flew into the room, exploding into a smoke ball. Kusetsu appeared in the smoke, pulling Itoki with her, and as she began kicking off the ninjas, she threw him out the window. Luckily, he fell into a canopy and was rescued by a lady. As the car sped away, Itoki began screaming, but the lady told him to be silent. She was Riha, and she worked with Itoki's mother at the store. After realizing who they were, Itoki wondered where they were going, so Kozo set a place far away from the city. However, a jeep drove into their way, and as they sped across the road, the jeep spewed dust on their window and laid spikes into their tires, sending them crashing into the walls. As Itoki woke up, Riaya pulled him out of the car and told him to return down the road they came from. As they continued fighting off the opposing force, Itoki began running away, wondering how the hell he got into this mess. After running all day and night, he realized that he was lost and couldn't find his way back. Suddenly, the lights went out in the streets and in the whole city, leaving Itoki wandering in the darkness. But luckily, a policeman appeared behind him. As Itoki tried repeating his story, a ninja appeared behind the man and sliced off his throat. Itoki looked horrified and started backing away, but he bumped into another ninja, who smacked him into a wall. With Itoki gagged and tied up, he closed his eyes, ready to give up. However, Takasada appeared before them, smoking a cigarette. When he told the slain police that he would slice his head off, the man swiftly stood up. Apparently, he was one of them. The lights turned back on in the street, and in a flash, Takasada teleported beside Itoki. The ninjas jumped back in fear, but began charging toward him, as he transformed into a ninja of his own. After a few hours, Takasada screamed for Itoki to wake up, and as he did, he began wondering where they were. Takasada told him that they were at their family home. Inside the home, Itoki saw everyone bowing to the ground as his mother walked into the room. He looked shocked to see her, and when he called her mother, she told him to call her Chief. She looked cold, and the sight of her made Itoki afraid. Soon, she began telling him that they are a ninja clan from the Iga village, who have lived in peace for decades by using the sword for their activities. However, the Kuga clan, renowned for being the most powerful clan in the world, were looking to destroy their village and annihilate him, since he was next in line to rule. After saying these words, she asked him to become a ninja and to help fight for their village, but Itoki still would not accept, so Takasada began dragging him outside. While outside, Takasada told him that his choices were to either become a ninja or become sushi for the Kuga clan. As Itoki screamed his
Become
frustration
sushi.
at both options, his
Sushi.
uncle wondered if he would rather be sent off to a
That's
faraway
okay.
country until a new successor was chosen. However, Itoki was afraid of staying away from his mother, so as he began crying, he finally agreed to become the next
Well,
leader. Meanwhile, in a faraway cabin,
think-
Satomi and a strange man realized that Itoki had been taken away to the Iga
After
village,
this,
so they decided to wait for their
video,
next opportunity to
before
eliminate him.
in a minute.
The following morning, as Itoki woke up, he saw
It's only
Riha waiting
been
outside his
4
room
minutes.
and was relieved knowing he was safe. After a few hours, she showed him a video of a ninja school where they were hoping to send him, but Itoki was surprised that it looked like a regular school. Riha told him that his exam into the school was only in a few days, causing him to scream in shock. A few days later, Itoki returned home, and while having dinner with his mother, he decided to ask about the death of his father, since he was the former leader of their clan. But Yumika thought it was best not digging into the past, and told him not to think about it. The following morning, Takasada and Kusetsu arrived to pick him up for his exam. However, Itoki thought he was not ready, and started wondering if he should
Stupid ads.
practice some fire breathing techniques. So Takasada began teasing him, and called his cigarette a fire technique. Kusetsu told him that there were no fire breathing techniques, but Itoki thought she was trying to trick him. A few hours later, they arrived at a mall for Itoki's exam, and as they walked inside, Itoki thought it looked like a regular store, so Kusetsu told him a secret code for the attendant. And after telling her, she led them to a secret passage. As they went through the passage, they arrived at a room full of mean-looking faces, but a few minutes later, the teacher arrived, telling them that their test was a hide-and-seek challenge, and that they had to find each other within a few minutes. When it was time to begin, Itoki realized that his partner for the exam was Satomi, who was disguised in a wig. After she walked into the store, the teacher told Itoki to begin his search for her, and soon, a random man began walking towards him with a knife, but Takasada pulled him into an aisle, wringing his neck, and pretended helping him around the store. While Itoki was afraid that his time was running out, Kusetsu told him that a group of ninjas were trying to kill him, so he suggested running away, but she knew he would fail the exam if he left. As a little girl began walking towards them with a balloon, it burst, with a kunai flying through to Itoki. But Kusetsu blocked it. Satomi smiled, and as Kusetsu looked for her, she became invincible and vanished. Kusetsu told Itoki to be watchful, and began running off to look for her. After a minute, she arrived in a passage and found Satomi waiting for her. As she charged towards her, Kusetsu transformed to a ninja and dodged her attacks, kneeing her ribs and throwing her a kick. Kusetsu went into a new passage, looking for her, but Satomi became visible, flying towards her with a slash. However, two other ninjas jumped into the corridor, trapping her inside, and allowing Satomi run off. Meanwhile, Itoki was waiting in fear, and as Satomi began rushing towards him, he sprayed the area, and rang the fire alarm, causing everyone to run out. As it began showering, Satomi became visible, but as she drew her knife, she charged towards him, but was kicked back by Kusetsu. Immediately, two agents caught her, and as they began taking her away, Itoki thought of touching her and passing the test. But another agent told him that the test was already over. A few hours later, Takasada told Itoki that he failed the exam, and would have to hide until the following year. But a moment later, after he received a call, he told Itoki that he's been accepted into the school, leaving him shocked. After a few weeks, Itoki was ready to leave for the school, and as he traveled through the city, he thought he might never return home again. Soon, they arrived at a train station, and Takasada waved him goodbye. A train stopped before them, and as they traveled in it, Itoki noticed the beautiful scenery around them. Arriving at the school, Itoki met a beautiful girl, who introduced herself as Ryoko, but after a while she began leaving with her friends. Itoki began waving goodbye, but Kusetsu kicked him from behind, telling him to walk. After a few minutes in the school, Itoki noticed that Kusetsu had vanished from his side, and as he began calling for her, a young group of students bumped into him. They were about knocking out his tooth when a girl hurried to him, pretending to know him, and pulled him away from the boys. She thought he was a new student, and advised him to avoid the boys like a plague. She introduced herself as Kairi, and asked to be his friend as they shook hands. And after a few more minutes, Kairi met Itoki in class, so he decided to introduce her to Kusetsu. As they tried getting their meal tickets, Kairi moved Itoki's hand to a ninja meal, which turned out to be a little piece of food. Itoki looked across the dining hall and saw the boys he had earlier met, so Kairi told him that they were from the Kuga clan, the same clan that were trying to kill him. Suddenly, one of the boys stood up from the table, wondering if Itoki came to fight. His name was Himura, and as he continued screaming at them, Kairi immediately hurried away. However, another boy told him to be silent. He was Suzaku, and he was the only son of the most powerful member of the Kuga clan. He said that Itoki's family murdered their leader, so he was looking to get his revenge on him. That evening, Itoki, Kusetsu, and Kairi arrived at their dormitory, and as they walked inside, Kairi advised Itoki to avoid Suzaku as much as he could. That night in his room, Kusetsu came in to tell him that she would always protect him from everyone, even if it made him uncomfortable. By the following day, an instructor told the students that they would be learning how to use ninja suits and cords. But Itoki had never heard those before, so he watched Kusetsu activate her suit before activating his own. When the teacher told them to travel across the island for their prize, the students swiftly ran off, jumping down the mountain. However, Itoki discovered that he could not move in the suit, but Kusetsu decided to ignore him and began running off. Luckily, Ryoko found him and started moving her hands around his bone until he could move again. She told him that his suit was too tight, and as she pushed him off, he began running, but after a moment, he fell to the ground. Meanwhile, Kusetsu and Suzaku were climbing to a rooftop, but Suzaku suddenly flew towards her and hit her with a kick. But as she blocked, she began falling, but luckily caught the wall again. As soon as Suzaku claimed his prize, Kusetsu also claimed her own. Itoki and Ryoko were running across a bridge when they saw Suzaku running towards Itoki to attack him. As he jumped, flying towards him with a blow, Kusetsu punched him away, but he began running again. After running across the bridge, Itoki found a broken core and decided to find who it was, but realized that it was Kairi, who was already beaten up and her prize stolen from her. So Itoki decided to help her get it back. As a group of bullies cornered another student, Itoki approached them, demanding for Kairi's prize. When he realized that they were never going to return it, he rushed towards the leader, but he flipped over him, causing Itoki to bump into the wall. The
Get way more than you pay for when you work out at Pure Gym. With no contract and no joining fee for a limited time only. All from just $17.99 a month.
The leader knocked Itoki around and nearly destroyed his core, but he swiftly rolled away. Itoki rushed towards him again, and as he grabbed him, the boy pulled his hair and threw him away. He stepped on Itoki's head, ready to squash him, but their master appeared before them and told them to continue their task. Before long, Itoki returned the prize to Kairi, as he was able to steal it back before getting thrown away. And as he helped her to the bridge, they found Ryoko returning. Itoki asked her to help Kairi return, and soon hurried to finish his task. However, by the time he arrived, he found the master eating what was left of the prizes. The next day, as Itoki went to get his meal card, a group of bullies threatened to beat him up. But Kusetsu decided to stay by his side for support. As they tried eating, Kairi and Ryoko joined them at the table. A week later in class, the teacher told the students about a test they had to take improving their abilities as a ninja. But Itoki didn't know what she was talking about. So after the class, he asked Ryoko to teach him how to use weapons, as he thought he would have to defend himself in battle. However, Kairi walked in on them and told him that the test was to sneak into her office and steal the answers from her vault. That afternoon, while Ryoko was showing Itoki a ninja device, she began telling him about her dream to continue as a ninja forever. But her father wanted her to become a dutiful wife after leaving the school. This made her sad, and she thought about never returning home again. In Itoki's room, later at night, he wondered why he was chosen to be the next leader of his clan, as he thought he didn't deserve to be in the position. So Kusetsu told him that the clan was only concerned about passing on leadership to whoever was next, and it didn't matter if the leader couldn't change
Yo,
his own
the
diaper.
son
The following
of
day,
the
while Itoki and
leader
his
is
friends were plotting a way
stupid.
to break into the teacher's
You-
office, two boys asked to join their parade. Having seen Itoki take on the bullies during their task, they thought he was the perfect role model, so Itoki decided to accept them into the group. At school that night, Itoki and his friends snuck through the corridor, heading for the teacher's office. Ryoko gave him a drone to spy at her, and as he threw it, it flew into the office, looking at the vault and keys. But as it returned, it smashed into a glass, alerting the teacher. Immediately, the students began flying out of the window, but Itoki's hook came off, and he began falling, but was caught midair and pulled up before the teacher saw him. When the teacher began chasing Kairi, she threw a smoke bomb and ran off, screaming in fear. Inside the office, Itoki and Ryoko discovered that the key to the safe had vanished. And before long, a group of bullies began beating up Itoki's friend, so Kusetsu hurried to save him. Afraid of getting caught by the teacher, Ryoko decided to hack into the safe, and was finally able to steal the answers. However, the following day in class, as they prepared to take the test, they discovered that the answers were totally false, and they were basically screwed. After the test, Imura and his gang laughed at them, because they had switched the answers in the vault before they arrived. The next day, Itoki and his friends began cleaning the school as a punishment for failing the test, but Kusetsu suddenly pulled him aside and told him that there was a mole among them who was working with Suzaku and his friends, and had switched the answers in the vault to screw them up. At these words, Itoki began staring at everyone's faces in shock. The following day in class, the teacher told them about their exam in the coming weeks, which were often extreme activities that could lead to their deaths. Itoki realized what her words meant and immediately became afraid. So after the class, he wondered if he could skip the exam, since more than half the students were trying to eliminate him. But Ryoko told him that he would get kicked out of the school for being a disgusting weakling. While walking through the corridor, Itoki and Kusetsu came across Suzaku, who promised to kill him in the exam, but they merely
I'll shoot you, bro. I'll shoot you.
These were moments when police officers attacked their partner, starting with the police sergeant who beat up his police chief. This entire confrontation began on November 9th, 2023, when
Fired. You're fired! Get out of my face now!
Are Cybertrucks as durable as Elon says they are? Let's find out. I've been waiting a very long time for this. 5 years, actually. Today is that day.
Cybertruck. I don't even say it that fast. Clap. 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 Clap.
I've learned how to clap. Turn down for what?
Clap off.
The clapper. Is there somebody in here? Oh my God! Helicopter!
The helicopter.
Welcome into a brand new scary game called Clap, where the monster is literally trying to clap us, and our only defense
Jesus, that sounded weird.
is back. Yes, a game full of clapping. You heard that right. To the window! To the wall! No matter how scary or intense this game
To
gets,
the
my viewers get ready to
window.
make fun of the
To the
situation
wall.
by playing a perfectly timed meme, kind of like this.
Phil Swift here for Flex Call.
Okay, it's freaking weird already. Let's hop in here. What could go wrong? October 8th, 1984. I saw an ad in the newspaper about a house sitting job. Since I was short on cash, I decided to sign up. If you're too young, you don't know what the clapper is. I myself saw the commercials in real time. It was crazy. Find Maxim's house. So we're going to Maxim's house. Here we go. Which one could it be? Maxim?
Awesome.
Mom? No, I'm not walking around after dark. Please don't take my Xbox.
Oh wait, what's this? What's this? Someone's here, chat.
My name is Jeff.
Their name is Jeff. Get away.
My name is Jeff.
Excuse me. I'm trying to find a house in the street. Could you help me out?
You teasing me, you naughty naughty.
Sure. Which house are you looking for? Maxim's. I'm looking for Maxim's place. He hired me to look after it while he's away. That's interesting. You usually ask me about the place. So we're watching and we're new. I'm Marco, by the way. I'm Polo. Nice to meet you, Marco. Can you tell me where his house is? Of course, it's 2 houses
That
down.
looks like that's
Mine's
just a
right here,
real
our neighbor
number.
Savo in the middle,
One
and
of
then
those
Maxim's place.
things,
You can't miss it. Okay.
Fifty
Simple enough, chat. We got this.
Fifty
Thanks, Marco.
shop,
Appreciate it. And if you need me, just shout your name really loud. No problem. Now, if you'll excuse me, I got my home automation system in the mail. I'm really excited. Oh, that must be the clapper. Oh, that sounds interesting. What does it do? It's supposed to make life a whole lot easier, you know, controlling the lights, temperature, and even the security system. Pretty cool stuff. Wow, that does sound convenient. Why did you decide to get it? Partly because of the recent disappearances happening around here. Uh-oh. But mainly because our neighbor Savo got one and won't stop raving about it. The whole block is just full of clapping. He left for vacation right after installing it. Said it has built-in surveillance systems and all. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Guess he wanted to keep an eye on things while he's away. Well, I hope you enjoy setting it up. Thanks again for the directions, Marco. No problem. If you need anything, I'm just a house away.
Marco!
Is he gonna walk away? Is he just gonna stand here suspiciously? What's bro doing? Wait, is he clapping?
What's the dog doing?
Okay, so this is Savo's house. Why did that almost jump scare me? That's not right. Here we go. Clap, clap, certified smart house surveillance right there.
Clap on, clap off. The clapper.
Let me just put my episodes. Should I bring Mr. Rocky? It's like clap on, clap up, the clapper. Mum, clap on, Mum.
Archie,
I do-
I'm talking to someone and you're mumming in the background. Shut up a minute. Don't start at me straight away first thing in the morning, mate. Don't. You need to learn to mither less. What's the matter?
It's just that. Have you ever heard the song Clap on, Clap off the clapper?
No, don't want to hear it either.